Hello again everyone, Melth here. Making a little side video this week because I've been busy making what I think will be the first ever guide video about how to hit level 12 in Act 2, which I've just accomplished. And along the way, I found a way to do something else that I'd always thought was impossible, based on both my own experiments and what I'd always read from people trying to do the same thing online. Which is, I have found a way to kill Elminster for his juicy 1000 experience points without losing Gale forever. Normally, as a reminder, if you haven't watched my previous video about how to fight Elminster and things like that, or read any other content about this, Elminster at this point in the game shows up, you meet him on the road or he comes to your camp or things like that, and he gives Gale a way to keep Gale's Netherese heart from exploding. Which obviously is essential to keeping Gale from dying. If you don't have that happen, then midway through Act 2, Gale just leaves the party forever and you can't stop that from happening. But if you let Elminster give you the charm that keeps that from happening, then there's no way to kill Elminster, because after that point happens in camp, then any action that lied to damage Elminster leads to him just teleporting out having taken no damage, and you lose your chance forever. So you couldn't do both. But I have now found a way that you actually can get him to put that charm on Gale, and then kill Elminster. So, we can skip through most of the dialogue here. There's one important choice here that does matter.
And a cup of wine.
Oh, nigh on 13 centuries.
So, we need to pick this option, go directly to camp without passing go, as it
See
were.
if he's more disposed to speak. Wise choice. Better to indulge.
Now, another important thing you'll notice here is that Astarion is not in my active party. That is essential for this.
Delightful wedge of
Alright, so conversation's beginning over here. Let's switch on out. We have another party member over here. So, notice in the mountain pass, Astarion's little tent is next to where Elminster will be. If you happen to be getting Elminster in some other location, like Grimforge, you might need to change plans accordingly, but the important thing is having a non-active party member right near Elminster. Then have someone who has enough strength, that is at least 20, to pick up Elminster. And I know, of course, this is a simulacrum, not the real Elminster, but I'm going to keep saying Elminster for short. So, my Karlach has enough strength to pick him up. So, while they're in conversation right now, I will have Karlach walk over and try to pick him up and move him. Now, notice something's going to happen here, which is very unusual. So I pick him up and try to pick a spot over, let's go with there.
Boom!
Instantly, combat began. It began before I threw him on the ground. And notice that I'm up against Astarion here, and also Halsin and Scratch and Curse, the hireling. But because the combat initiated when I picked him up, it didn't actually make Elminster hostile, he's still in conversation over here. So now we can just skim through this blah 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 blah. Nothing matters here.
Strode is a word. That is why I have come. You must find.
This is the last thing we need. He's going to be giving the charm now. Now we can just go over and kill Elminster. He won't be fighting back. It won't be a terribly interesting fight. Down he goes, 1000 XP for us, conversation over. Let's check out Gale. You can see he has Netherese Orb Blast. So, he's got the charm, Gale is safe for the rest of the game, and I got my 1000 XP. A pretty hefty reward for no downside whatsoever. Now, I've tested this repeatedly, and I can get it to work consistently on some runs, but not on others. Let me demonstrate. Now here's a run where I've got this to work most of the time, but sometimes not, and I cannot figure out what the X factor is that determines that. I have replayed this scene from different save points before this several different times. I can't find a single variable that explains the difference and whether it does or doesn't work.
Find himself for.
Nigh on 30.
Off we go to camp.
Yes, what it.
So we switch out to go with Karlach again. In this version, she doesn't have an elixir yet. We'll have her drink one to be strong enough to pick him up. Stand over near Astarion. And we'll give him the old heave-ho.
Say bye-bye.
So Astarion did not aggro there. Normally I was saying that's important. Here he did not. We'll see now if I throw the guy down, does anyone aggro at that point? Or does Elminster just aggro to me, which would ruin everything? So it looks like we're okay here. Elminster did not aggro, other people in camp did. That's more normal behavior, and that works for us. But if Elminster aggroed, then we'd be in trouble. I can't figure out what causes that to happen or not. It's not about distance per se. I've tried throwing him down like all the way over there, that doesn't stop it. I've tried throwing him down close by, that doesn't change anything, but if Elminster doesn't aggro, then we're okay and we can do this. So we advance through conversation, we get the charm.
Mr. is aware.
I've tried things like choosing what other people are in camp, like whether Barcus is here, for example. That doesn't seem to make a difference. I've tried obvious things like does Astarion like me or not, that makes no difference. So it is pretty mysterious at this point. When I've done other tomfoolery in camp, like having something like Shovel, for example, attack, the Owlbear Cub, for example, that's not consistent in who aggroes and who doesn't either. Like sometimes Astarion will aggro as an enemy, sometimes he'll aggro as a green unit ally. If I can figure out what causes non-party member camp people to aggro, that I think will be the key to making this work consistently. Down he goes again, that lets Gale enter. And when we get back to Gale's turn, we'll see that Gale does have the charm. Then we just need to go about suppressing our party members here. Non-lethally, of course. It'll be just fine to knock out Halcyon, just fine to knock out Scratch. No one will hold any grudges about that. Here is another incarnation of that exact same run. We'll see whether it works this time. This is one save point I was having trouble getting this to work from for whatever reason. Alright, so we'll try picking him up and throwing him down to that general location. No aggro from Astarion. Throw down. But this time Elminster's in combat, so that's no good for us. So, you can see I've tried it a lot of different ways. I've tried eliminating various variables and standardizing things, and it seems like I can get it to work 100% of the time on one run. I can get it most of the time, but not all the time on this run, depending on what save point I'm loading it from. And I can get it to work half the time on like a third run I've tested it on. So there's some kind of X factor that's going on behind the scenes here. I don't think that it's random. I think there's some variable that's not obvious that governs this behavior of whether Elminster aggros and whether Astarion aggros when I just pick the guy up. That's the weirdest thing of all. If that happens, you're golden as far as I can tell. No further risks or complications. So if any of you out there know the answer to the mystery of why certain party members sometimes aggro and not other times, and in particular why Astarion might aggro when I pick a guy up rather than when I throw him down, that will be the key to getting ourselves a guaranteed 1000 free XP every run where we want to do that. Pretty good stuff. As it is, this is always just worth trying, because there's no downside to picking the guy up. It's only if you actually throw him down that you ever get in any kind of trouble whatsoever. So, worth trying. And with that, I'll get back to putting together the footage of how to reach level 12 in Act 2. Thank you for watching, everyone, and a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. The Irreverent Reverend, MasterKnightDH, Jackie, Enlino, Travis, Andrew Curzon, Truebsy, Oliver, Gregory, William Wakefield, Broken Box, Jeffrey Morse, Jack, Marcus the Carcus, Newbienna, Nicolas Schmuck, Kostya Nesterovich, Fredrik Bruun, Technowaffle, Nebular, Loop, Emperor Kong 420, Robin, Micc Balls, Micah Marie, Stefan Van Zyl, Edie, Kaimu, Mina, Ali Kasimoglu, Skyler Soss, Nick Myers, Ninjaz, Chupatan, Diabetic Cat, Marvin Fang, Max, Sosa 972, Afro Samurai, Cac per M, Daniel Bissett, and Lodestone. Have a great day, everyone.